everybody, Johnny Be Good here, located still in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. I'm just about ready to leave. Been sitting here since last night, as many of you guys know. And the reason I've been sitting here this long is my appointment is not till 3 o'clock, which is 55 miles away from here. So that'll make sure I don't start my clock too early. Otherwise, if I get there and they won't load me, then I start burning my my hours for nothing. So right now I'm updating my logbook. ULJ1, if I found no. Just bear with me here. Driving, on duty driving. Alright, here we go. As you can see, it's snowing pretty good. Get this out of the view. All right, here we go. All right, today is Friday, January 17th. 2014. Local time here is 12:49. I am now just what is it, 58 miles away to my pickup place in Springdale, Ohio. Local temperature here is 28 degrees. Needless to say, I am empty right now. Picking up a load of, boy, I can't remember the name of the place. But I am to bring that load to our terminal in De Pere, Wisconsin. Okay. Some of the popping questions is where I am from and how I got here. To begin the story, I should begin the story with my father. My father was an American born and raised in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And he became a sailor on the Great Lakes. But once he was old enough, he became the sailor of the high seas, a merchant mariner. There you go. Not in the military, just one of those sailors in freighter ships. He did that for a number of years. He started out as a deckhand and worked his way up to what, the chief engineer, as they call it, right? he used to tell me stories of all the places around the world that he has visited. But one day when he and his crew had to pick up a load of pineapples in Philippines, in Mindanao, the Philippine packing, Del Monte, Philippines. He just fell in love with the island, the place, and he jumped off ship. And he ended up living in the Philippines for 45 years. He was very fluent in the native dialect, which is Bisaya, and was considered one of the locals. To make the story short, he met my mom, and as Paul Harvey would say, the rest is, the rest of the story. My mom, I guess, had a hard time with her pregnancy. She had a lot of miscarriage. And one of the factor of that was she was very irritable, person that gets irritated, irritable, and she couldn't stand the sight of my dad, I guess. And my dad would somehow bring some kind of what would be the word? Stress. So to the advice of the doctors, my dad would had to leave. And my dad always went back to the shipping and sailing, which he did not mind because he loved it. But the first time I came through the United States was back in 1979, the end of 79 and the early 80s. That was the time when Pan Am had a strike. And we were forced to land in Hawaii. So anyway, from 1980 to about end of 83, we lived in Wisconsin. But my dad got homesick again back to the Philippines. So we all packed up and left. Stayed in the Philippines until back early, early 1990. So from 1990, I pretty much called the United States as my residence. Although I've always gone back and forth in the Philippines to visit. Most of my friends and family members, well, my immediate family are, my brother and sisters are here. But I've left a lot of people back there, or dear to me. one of which I've learned has died today. She was a very, very sweet lady. I haven't seen her in close to 15 years. And yet, I can still remember the sound of her voice. I've known her since I was a little tiny kid. They were ordinary folks from the island, but they were very sweet and kind, and they were good friends with my mom. I was always in and out of their house. That's something about living in an island back home in the Philippines that most Americans will never see, understand, or understand the concept of it. Is growing up in a very small village. It's man, I was in and out of every houses in the village. There was I was welcome as welcome. Anybody could be welcome. Living in an island is a very slow pace, laid back. There are some drawbacks, I guess, but overall, man, they got it rich. They just don't realize how rich they got it. And of course, they got their own challenges and all that, but in contrast, here in the United States, I can get everything I need, not necessarily everything that I want. The concept of everything I want is like James Bond said, the world is not enough, right? You know who the richest people are in the world? People who are satisfied. Those are the richest people in the world. People who are satisfied of what they got. I heard from somebody that said, if you're not satisfied of what you got now, no amount of $1 million lottery can fill that void. But anyway, in 1990, I migrated here. I started going trucking at 1991. And at about the year 2000, my dad died here in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And it was always his last wish to be buried back home in the island in the Philippines. So we brought him home. And that was the last time I was able to go home in the Philippines. Trying to remember all the comments that you guys have asked out there, questions, and oh boy, can't remember it all. I'm so horrible with names. Seriously. By the way, a little bit of a confession to make. Last night I went to McDonald's because I wanted to use their Wi-Fi and finally learn how to, you know, try to learn how to answer your replies or your questions and comments. So I went in, right? And of course, you can't just sit in McDonald's and not order nothing. I was in the mindset of I'm on a strict diet of bananas and wheat bread. But so I went into McDonald's, just ordered me one chicken snack wrap and a small cup of water. Went in there, paid for it. Next thing I know, the lady hands me a bag of food and an empty cup of water. I mean, empty plastic cup. So I took it. It was a little bit strange because I ordered it to dine in. But some places, you know, some McDonald's, they actually don't serve you a tray. They put it in the bag, and I guess they expect you to eat it that way. So anyway, I grabbed the food. I start going to my table. Lady calls me back, says, "Sir, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong food." So I went back, gave her the food. I never even opened the bag. Gave her the food, and what does she does? She throws the food away. Oh, that just broke my heart. What a waste, you know? And rightly so, with all the liability out there and all the, I don't know, I mean, you certainly would not be comfortable if somebody were to touch your food, I guess, right? So I'm not condemning her for that, but it's still, what a waste, you know? So anyway, I go back in. I mean, I gave her the food. She throws it. She gives me my real food, my right order. I went back to my table, and it just broke my heart to think that she just threw the food away. So I got up my seat thinking to go back there and then, you know, ask her and express my disappointment of her throwing the food away. But I was embarrassed, and halfway there I turned around, sat back on my table. But she called me and she says, "Was there something else that you needed?" And I said, "Boy, what a waste! You just threw the food away." I said, "Could I have it?" She looks at her manager and says, "Yeah." Well, there were 2 cheeseburgers in it with pickles. I can't stand pickles. I love dill pickles when they're whole and when they're crunchy. Just can't stand them on a hamburger. Gross. So I was faced with the dilemma. Strict diet or free food? Oh boy. I had to sacrifice the strict diet. What can I say? So I ended up eating a pretty big meal last night. Pretty big meal. But don't worry, I haven't eaten breakfast. I haven't eaten anything since last night. Oh, I had a banana, I guess. I gotta start consuming these bananas because they're getting a little bit kind of nasty, I guess. I don't like overripe bananas. I don't know. I'm not too crazy about bananas, but the cheapest and easiest way for me to swallow my wheat bread, I guess. I know there's a lot better choices out there that I could do, but seems like my diet is working. I'll stick with it for a while, I guess. Alright, we are now 39.9 miles away to our pickup. Looks like the Ohio scale is open. Okay, one of you wanted to know how I upload my video. Pretty simple. I think I touched base on this last night. Never got to finish it, so let me try that again. My Sony HDR AS15 uses a micro SD card. So does my phone. My phone is with Sprint. My phone is the Evo 4G LTE. There are several ways that I upload my videos. One, I take a video that's 10-minute long or whatever, and I don't need to edit or cut it. I just take the memory card out of the camera, put it in the phone, and upload it. That's it. And also on the phone, there's a free app. It's called, what is it? It's called VidTrim. VID as in video. VidTrim. Look that up on your phone apps. All that does is it enables you to cut the video and among other things, but mainly that's what I use it for. It's a free version of it, minimum thing that I can do with it. So I cut the video that way and upload it, right? Another way is I take the memory card out of the camera, insert it to my laptop, and do all that video editing, cutting, whatever, all that stuff. And once that's done, then either I put the file back into the memory card, or I use the USB and transfer the file from the laptop directly to the phone and upload it. I rarely transfer all of the files from the video camera into the phone through Wi-Fi. It takes way too long. It just takes forever. And get this, in order for you to transfer that file from the camera to the phone, you have to activate the Wi-Fi, and that loses your internet connection on the phone. And if somebody was to call you on the phone while you're transferring the data through Wi-Fi, I guarantee you, you'll have to start all over again. And once again, I only upload my videos, well, whenever possible. I upload my videos with the 4G network. Otherwise, the 3G is just way too slow. One of you made a comment about if I like automatic transmission. First of all, let me say I am not one of those gung-ho typical super trucker wannabe. By nature, I'm a lazy person. Don't get me wrong, I know how to shift. I can shift properly, efficiently, just as good as any other. I just like automatic transmission. So far, I've had blue since what, the end of June 2013. I haven't had any problems with it. Sometimes though, I do wish you know, that it was, but one of the things that I don't like about the manual stick shift is the accessibility between the driver and the sleeper. In fact, if any of you out there who was involved in this development of trucks, I tell you this much, I wish this was not here. Wouldn't it be nice if this thing was not here? It's so much in a way. I know the convenience of the cup holder and all that stuff, and you know, it's an automatic transmission. You don't need all this big gadget here, this big old stick, you know. Like back in the early days, back in the day, they say, when big, gigantic ships started to develop. Well, and the old wooden ships and big ships in the old days, they had a big, humongous wheel. Rightly so, because it was not, you know, it was not powered. You really had to put your muscle to it. But when the modern ships started building with the hydraulic wheel, look at all the big, mighty ships today. They just have a tiny little wheel and a little joystick. You don't need all this big, gigantic thing. But that's just my opinion. Local time here is 1:16. I guess that's it for now. I'll see you over there at the shipper. Wow, yesterday this was clean. Look at this. Call Apple. Okay.